Thank you all so much for coming. My name is Jan King, and I am the president of the NEF. I'm also a retired teacher here from the high school. I also worked at Neshaminy Middle, and way back I did a little stint in Sandburg and also at Lower South. So I've been around the block. I taught health and physical education, so I was able to get to all of the levels, which was awesome. I want to thank you all for coming to support this incredible cohort of not only nominees, but award winners. We, as a team, get together, and all of you who have nominated someone, it's incredible to look at what our graduates have done. I'm never going to get one. So all the people sitting out here who are going to get these awards, I bow to thee, because what you have accomplished is incredible. So I thank you all again for coming. I would like to thank the entire Neshaminy Education Foundation. They do an amazing job supporting staff, as well as our students and administrators throughout the district, and specifically our alumni committee. So there's 6 of us on this alumni committee: myself, Monica Melavoy, Dave Heaney, Pam Sporney, Steve Cohen, and Janet Goshik. Are you all in here? If you could just give a hi there. So I really appreciate that. In the back is a guy named Chris Stanley, and I can tell you none of this would happen without our community relations director. He's an amazing person and supports us 100%. So thank you, Chris, for everything that you do. Isn't it rough when you have to clap? It's what I would kick off our evening with an incredible group of young adults, our young students that are going to sing for you our national anthem, and of course, the Neshaminy alma mater. I'm sure you all remember the words. But please welcome our Neshaminy High School Select Choir under the direction of Miss Kristen Nichols. They have a concert tonight, by the way. If you're interested in stopping by after our little refreshments, it's right down the hall. If you would all stand.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red
They're amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I'm sure you would love me all to stay up here and speak the whole time. I know our superintendent was excited about me speaking. But I am now going to introduce our superintendent, Mr. Jay Bowman.
Thank you, Jan. I have 2 other meetings to get to tonight, but I did call ahead to let them know I may be late because there's no telling. Jan could end up talking for an hour once you give her a microphone, so all bets are off. Again, my name's Jay Bowman. I couldn't be more proud to stand here tonight as the superintendent of Neshaminy School District. First, there's nothing better in this job than watching our talented students do the things they love in our schools, so that's always a pleasure. I also want to thank the NEF. We have a lot of the board members here tonight, and they really help us in so many ways. A lot of things that our general budget can't handle. They raise money, they give scholarships to students, help in classroom projects. So just a tremendous group of individuals, many of whom I've known for a long time, and many more I get to meet and enjoy time with each year. But thank you for everything you do for our district and our community. It's greatly appreciated. But tonight, it's my honor and my privilege to stand before you as we recognize and celebrate remarkable recipients of the Neshaminy Alumni Achievement Award. These individuals embody the very best of what it means to be from Neshaminy, leaders who have carried the values they learned here into the world, using their talents, their passion, their determination to make a meaningful impact on others. Tonight's especially meaningful to me because Neshaminy has always been more than a school to me. It's part of my life's foundation. My father was a longtime administrator here. My wife and I are both proud alumni, and we chose to raise our family right here in this community. Our 2 boys walked the same halls and graduated as proud Neshaminy alum as well. This place shaped us, and it continues to shape the next generation. This year's Distinguished Alumni Honorees represent extraordinary fields and achievements. We're honored to recognize a leading climate research professor whose work is helping us understand and better protect our planet, a retired Navy officer and engineer who dedicated his career to service and innovation, a retired colonel and military science professor who has shaped future leaders through both duty and education, a NASA aerospace engineer contributing to the future of flight and exploration, and a psychologist and professor whose work has advanced our understanding of the human mind and improved countless lives. That's a pretty impressive group of people. Their accomplishments span science, service, engineering, education, and global impact. But beyond these achievements, what truly unites them is integrity, perseverance, and commitment to serve something greater than themselves. They remind us that success is measured not only by accolades, but by lives we touch and the examples we set. To our award recipients, thank you for your contributions, your leadership, and most importantly, for representing our community with such pride and excellence. Your journeys inspire every student who walks through the doors of Neshaminy High School every day. On behalf of the entire Neshaminy community and from one proud alumni family to another, congratulations on this well-deserved honor. We celebrate you, we thank you, and we look forward to watch all that you continue to accomplish. Enjoy your evening tonight. It is now my pleasure to introduce another great Neshaminy alumni, a close personal friend of mine, and a great community partner for Neshaminy School District, State Senator Mr. Frank Farry.
Thank you, and it's great to be with you tonight. I had the honor of sitting in these seats 2 years ago as a proud recipient of the second class, and it's always incredible to learn of the great successes of Neshaminy alumni. Becky, who is right here, who will be honored in a little bit, or who I guess I should say doctor now, who I knew when she was very young, commented about being back in the building. It's been quite some time. And I have the honor of being in this building. It almost feels like once a week. Neshaminy's developed so many great programs beyond the academics and the arts and the athletics that we all know it's very rich in its history. We have some military folks that are being honored tonight. Well, they've had for many, many years a signing ceremony right before Memorial Day, recognizing the seniors that are heading off into the military so they get a recognition. We obviously know the athletic signing ceremonies that they have. They have a great Student of the Month program, which earlier this month, they recognized freshmen through seniors as Student of the Month who were in the arts and our musical programs. And they're doing so much to develop that future alumni class several decades from now. So great things are still going on here, and I'm honored to be part of that history. To the awardees tonight, thank you for what you do. Thank you for the professions you have chosen, whether it's service to your country or service to your fellow human. That is something that is so important. And I'm so proud as a Neshaminy alumni that Neshaminy grads are doing such great things. So to your families, who I'm sure have made sacrifices along the way so you could reach those successes, thank you as well for lending your loved one to that great public service. Tonight, as the program goes on, you will be receiving a few different recognitions. The flags you see on that table, Congressman Fitzpatrick had flown over the the U.S. Capitol. Representative Joe Hogan, who has a 1-year-old and is trying to get here, but he's an Egan guy, which is probably why he's late. Now, Joe has a 1-year-old, and he was juggling family responsibilities. He will have a recognition from the State House of Representatives, and then I have one that's there from the Pennsylvania State Senate. So these are well-deserved recognitions. I thank you again, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the committee for not just all the great work you did educating a lot of us over the years, but your continued service to the Neshaminy community. So congratulations tonight, and thank you.
So Joe Hogan is not here at the moment, but if he does come in, we will bring him up. Great guy. So we're going to get started. I think for why you came here, I mean, hearing us speak is great, but hearing about the recipients of this award will be even better. So I'm going to start off introducing a young lady who, her aunt was on my swim team way back when. And I have known this family for a very, very long time. So I'm very honored to be able to introduce Dr. Rebecca Beadling. She graduated from Neshaminy High School in 2009 before earning her dual degrees in chemistry and biology with a minor in mathematics from Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Her growing interest in climate systems led her to pursue an MS in geoscience at the University of Arizona, where she investigated ocean circulation in the North Atlantic using climate model simulations. Beadling continued her work on ocean circulation and the ocean's role in the climate system, completing her PhD in 2020 at the University of Arizona. She was subsequently awarded a NOAA Climate and Global Change postdoctoral fellowship, jointly hosted by NOAA and GFDL and Princeton University's program in atmospheric and oceanic sciences. She is now an assistant professor in Temple University's Department of Earth and Environmental Science, where she teaches courses on climate dynamics and climate change and leads the Ocean Climate Connections Research Group. Beadling's research combines observations and climate model simulations to advance understanding of the ocean's role in Earth's heat and carbon budgets, with a particular focus on southern ocean processes and the influence on global climate. She also works to identify and address biases in coupled climate models and contributes to national and international climate modeling efforts as a member of NOAA's Model Diagnostics Task Force and the World Climate Research Program, CMIP, Benchmarking Task Team. Most recently, she was selected as the lead author of Chapter 6, Global Protections of Earth System Responses Across Timescales, in the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's 7th Assessment Report. The IPCC is an international body tasked with assessing the science-related climate change, considered the most authoritative source of climate science. Assessment reports evaluate the current state of knowledge on climate systems, climate change, and associated impacts, and can form the basis of governments and decision makers to develop climate-related policies. I would like to introduce you to Dr. Becky Beadling. Becky was nominated by Miss Jen Barr. Yeah, she's going to come around. We're going to come out to the center here, and then you're going to get the
All right. Thank you, first of all, for inviting me here. This is amazing. So first, I'd like to thank the Neshaminy Education Foundation for choosing me to be a part of this 2025 Distinguished Neshaminy Alumni Cohort. I'm honored to be a part of this cohort and to be recognized for my work post-graduation. Receiving this award and coming back to Neshaminy has caused me to reflect on my time here and is exactly how my experience in education here has led me to where I am today. I grew up in the Twin Oaks section of Levittown and attended Neshaminy schools for my entire pre-university education, Pearl Buck, Maple Point Middle School, and then here in Neshaminy High School. Neshaminy also shaped those who raised me, instilling in me a strong value and respect for education and those who educate. My dad, Bill Beadling, who some of you here know very well, graduated from Neshaminy in 1971 and coached Neshaminy girls swimming with Jan King later on. Outside of when he was away at Bloomsburg for college, he never missed a single Neshaminy football game from the 1970s forward, and Friday night football games and collecting those little plastic footballs became a staple of my childhood. I still remember the 2001 state championship against Woodland Hills at Hershey Park, and the picture my dad snapped of me wearing his 1971 Neshaminy Letterman jacket and the trophy next to Jamar Brittingham. Because of the reputation of seeing Mr. Beadling at every single Neshaminy event, my friends ended up voting me for most likely to return to a Neshaminy event for our senior year superlatives. So tonight I am taking a step toward fulfilling that role by being here. Unfortunately, my dad passed away, but if he were here, I know that me receiving this award would have been the highlight of his entire life. My Aunt Jennifer Barr, who's sitting in the audience, or just up here on stage, graduated from Neshaminy in 1988 and has been an elementary school teacher at Albert Schweitzer for the entirety of her teaching career. My grandma, who also unfortunately recently passed away, used to volunteer at Pearl Buck Elementary, and I would say she was the most highly sought-after chaperone for all of my field trips growing up. So what did Neshaminy give me? I am where I am today because teachers at Neshaminy taught me how to work hard. Specifically, I'd like to shout out Mrs. Oswald, Mrs. Moncher, Mrs. Janad, Miss Smith, Mrs. Beck, Mrs. Dirks. Mrs. Dirks was known as the toughest fourth grade teacher when I was at Pearl Buck, but I actually loved that. I loved Mrs. Dirks. She taught me from an early age that education was no joke. Mr. Bursk, Mr. Aubrey, Mr. Shankin, Mrs. Franks, Mrs. Silcox, Mr. Winter, Mrs. McGuigan, Miss Midzak, my tennis coach, Mr. Beck, and the person who had the largest impact on me, who inspired me to become a scientist, was Mrs. Royds, who teaches right here at Neshaminy High School, my senior year biology teacher. Mrs. Royds inspired me so much that I decided to go to college for biology education to become a high school biology teacher just like her. But it turned out that I ended up developing interests in biology, chemistry, and applied math, and truly I just became obsessed with learning when I was in college. And I ended up deciding to dedicate my life to understanding the climate system and how it works and understanding climate change. So to summarize that bit of what Neshaminy gave me, it gave me an obsession with learning. Neshaminy also gave someone else sitting in this audience an obsession for learning that I need to acknowledge. Ronald Stauffer, class of 1970. Ron, can you raise your hand? Ron is the most highly cited climate scientist in the world and has been my scientific and career mentor since graduate school. Ron worked at NOAA's Geophysical Fluid Dynamics Laboratory in Princeton, which was mentioned in my introduction, for his entire career, and led some of the most foundational projects that have advanced climate science on an international scale. He was the person who gave me access to the supercomputers that I needed during graduate school to run my first climate modeling experiments. I had no idea Ron graduated from Neshaminy until one day we met in person in Arizona in 2016 when he was visiting and I was wearing a Bloomsburg sweatshirt and he asked me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, just outside of Philadelphia," because no one in Arizona knows where Bucks County is. And he said, "Yeah, where?" And I said, "Bucks County." And he said, "Yeah, okay, where?" And I said, "Levittown." He said, "What section?" And when someone says section, I know they're a real Levittowner. I said, "Twin Oaks." And he asked if I graduated from Neshaminy, and he said, "Same, 1972. Oh, I meant to say 72 earlier. I got that year wrong. 1972. So Neshaminy gave me Ron. So thank you, Ron, and for guiding my career. What else did Neshaminy give me? Neshaminy gave me community. Neshaminy gave me support. When we were going through tough times, when my dad was trying to figure out FAFSA and how to find ways to actually get me to college, Neshaminy helped. Neshaminy helped us figure out FAFSA, where to apply for scholarships. The Neshaminy Education Foundation provided me with a scholarship to take into my first year at IUP so I could simply afford textbooks. Neshaminy gave me the most supportive group of lifelong friends that I could ever ask for, who still stand by me today and have stood by me since we first met in classes at Pearl Buck, Maple Point, and here at the high school. Playing tennis and lacrosse here at Neshaminy gave me memories and a team mentality that I didn't realize was so valuable until I was in a position where I have to now lead a team of undergraduate and graduate students in my research group. And I'll wrap this up by saying thank you, Neshaminy, and those that are here for showing up for me and shaping me and giving me the opportunities that have led me to where I am today. And I look forward to coming back to more Neshaminy events and fulfilling that role of being most likely to return. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Impressive. Extremely impressive. All right. Moving on to the next impressive person. If you look on the up on the screen, we have one person who wasn't able to be here today because they live in South Carolina, which is awesome, but they were actually coming until they had a house settlement on the same day. So Mr. Chris Cechak is up on the Zoom, and I'm going to introduce Mr. Steve Cohen, who is an art teacher. He was my art teacher back in the day, to discuss a little bit about Mr. Chris Cechak.
How you doing, Steve?
Okay. Mr. Cechak holds a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering from the United States Naval Academy and a master's degree in engineering management from Old Dominion University. He served 6 years active duty in the U.S. Navy as a submarine officer, serving on 2 nuclear submarines. He qualified in submarines and was certified as engineer on a nuclear power plant, equivalent to a civilian professional engineer. After leaving active duty, he spent 14 years as a civilian supporting the Navy's submarine stealth initiatives, receiving the Navy Superior Civilian Service Medal, the second highest civilian award presented by the Navy. After retiring from federal service, he joined Signal Systems Corporation, SSC, managing programs related to the active sonar technology for the Navy's airborne anti-submarine warfare platforms. SSC is the leader in applying machine learning technology to finding enemy submarines. He's married to his wife Elaine for 43 years. They reside in Charleston, South Carolina, near their 2 daughters and 5 granddaughters. He has volunteered with the Appalachian Service Project to rebuild homes in Appalachia and with the Tri-County Veterans Association to renovate homes for veterans in South Carolina. Additionally, he's a certified beekeeper. He graduated from Neshaminy Maple Point High School, class of 1978. On a personal note, Chris, your dad and I, Bill, worked together for decades as art teachers in Neshaminy. His imposing stature and booming voice were omnipresent wherever he appeared. He was very proud of his family. We shared stories of our kids' antics and successes. And when we hung the district art show, Bill was recruited to hang reach the highest levels because nobody else could except your dad. So anyway, so congratulations on the receiving the award this year. Accepting the award for tonight for Chris Cechak is Charlie Schmidt. Charlie Schmidt.
It's great to see you up there, Chris. It's been a lot of years. Chris was always an outstanding student at Neshaminy. He was captain of a football team, co-captain of a football team. He was a leader. He showed compassion for everyone that he dealt with at those times. And it was an honor to nominate him with his outstanding military career as well as his professional career in naval research. He's a highly regarded person, and congratulations, Chris.
All right, Chris, are you ready to speak a little bit?
Yeah, I can speak if everybody's willing to listen. Well, first of all, I want to thank the committee for selecting me, and I want to thank Coach Schmidt for nominating me. I would also like to thank the members of the Neshaminy Football Brotherhood who may be in attendance. I think I spotted Jim Riley there in the audience. It's nice to be recognized for something other than looking like Al Bundy or Robert Irvine, which I get every week. I'm disappointed I was unable to attend. I am currently homeless as I closed on my old house today and I close on my new house tomorrow. So it was a very hectic time. I am very proud of being a Neshaminy graduate. One of the first things I did plebe summer when I went to the Naval Academy is I had to defend Neshaminy's honor against my plebe summer first class midshipman. He was from William Tennant, Montgomery County, and he would have me stand at attention for long periods of time trying to get me to admit that Tennant was better than Neshaminy. And let me tell you, I stood at attention during those come-arounds for a very long time. I never admitted it. Never thought I'd have to, but I have to be very thankful for the education, the opportunities afforded me at Neshaminy. As you guys may know, my father was a well-established teacher in the Neshaminy School District, and he was at Maple Point. I graduated from Langhorne. It's given me a strong foundation for everything in life. Physically, the sports programs were wonderful. Coach Schmidt, Coach Weber, I believe you're in the audience, and the rest of the staff, I have to thank you for teaching us that hard work is the key to getting ahead. I really needed that during college where you're competing against the best athletes in the country. And I'm not a natural athlete, so I just had to work that much harder just to even get in the game there. As far as academics go, Neshaminy gave me a great foundation to move on. When you go to an academy, you find out you're just one of many people who are talented. Everyone's a team captain, all state this, honor society, valedictorian, perfect SATs. So you look at yourself, you're like, what am I doing here? Am I good enough? Well, thanks to Neshaminy, I was able to place out of several math classes my first year at the academy. That really helped with my academics. And the education I achieved there allowed me to graduate as an engineer. So yes, I am a rocket scientist, as is Miss Ozoroski. I excelled in nuclear power school because of foundations I learned from Frank Dugan in chemistry at Neshaminy High School. And I was able to operate nuclear reactors for the Navy. It also set me up for a good career in Navy in acoustics after I left active duty. And I want to shout out to NOAA and NASA Langley Research Center, as well as Boeing, who the people in the audience have all worked with, because I use the NOAA databases and models of the ocean very frequently in my current work, doing active sonar. I've done airborne acoustics with the people down at NASA Langley, and if you know Steve Rizzi, Mr. Ozoroski, I've worked with him. And Boeing, currently work with Boeing, putting our software in the Navy platforms. So all that hard work paid off. And one of the things that we don't get to talk about a lot, but Neshaminy affords you a lot of activities. And I was exposed to a lot of activities. I was on the school newspaper. And I'll tell you, I still remember gym night. I don't know if they still have it, but I love gym night. And there used to be a spring festival we allowed. And you got involved with all of those that allowed the creative side to come out. And that creative side lasts to this day. So one of the last things Neshaminy gave me was a lot of my Navy customers today started out at Warminster. And they thought very highly of Neshaminy. So when they found out I was from Neshaminy, they gave me a little bit better deal. So once again, I want to thank the committee. I want to thank you to Neshaminy High School for all that it gave to me. And I would just like to say, go Navy, beat Army.
So, Chris, to answer your question, gym night is still a go. It is
Good.
still as crazy as ever, but no one steals the wood anymore. That's not allowed. And funny little story, when they redid Gym 3, they put in, obviously, ADA seating, which they should have, because those wooden bleachers were petrifying. And they lost 700 seats. So when the first year happened, the kids started selling their tickets on StubHub and were making a fortune to let people go to gym night. So it's still a sellout. It's still a lot of fun. Let us know if you want to go. Yeah, we'll get them out to you. We'll mail them.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Our next recipient is going to be Colonel Bruce Cordelli and will be introduced by our member, Janet Goshek.
I guess I represent the Army side of this part. And Bruce has quite a resume, so I don't want to leave anything out of what he's done. Bruce Cordelli has a long association with Neshaminy. Many of us remember teaching or coaching with his father, Pete Cordelli. Bruce graduated in 1979 and was president of his class. He attended the United States Military Academy at West Point and received a BS in Mechanical Engineering in 1983 and was commissioned as a second lieutenant. Bruce served in the Army with distinction in varying leadership positions for over 24 years. During his Army career, he earned numerous awards and led over 1,000 people as he commanded 4 organizations while attaining the rank of colonel. Bruce has a passion for learning, teaching, and training, and spent a tour as an assistant professor of military science of ROTC, I should say, at Kent State University, and later as the department head and professor of military science at North Carolina State University, while also attaining an MS in general administration. He commanded a field artillery battalion and successfully led 440 soldiers into combat without loss of life during Operation Iraqi Freedom. His final stint during his Army career was as the director of the Joint Deployable Training Group leading a team of joint service experts responsible for training the General's Joint Staff Headquarters to prepare them to lead service members in Iraq and Afghanistan. Bruce also deployed there to conduct operational effectiveness assistance to the Joint Staff Headquarters. After his retirement from the military, he was a military senior consultant to the Office of the Secretary of Defense for Readiness and Training, advising the director on joint warfare readiness. He then worked at Boeing Defense Phantom Works, where he became director of Army Systems, and his team conducted analysis, trade studies, and military-focused experimentation to gain insights into future military capability needs and guided Boeing investment towards those technologies. In 2023, Bruce became the president of ACE Electronics Defense Systems, a service-disabled owned veteran small business manufacturing company. ACE Electronics produces custom cables, electromechanical assemblies, and platform installation kits for vehicles, communications, and robot operation. He improved the performance of the company and earned the first 2 Small Business Supplier of the Year awards, which were from Lockheed Martin and British Aerospace Systems. Bruce enjoyed spending time with his family, reading, music, and golfing. He is most proud of his family. He has been happily married to Deb Cordelli for 35 years, and they have 2 children, Bruce Cordelli Jr. and Cassidy Cordelli Kennedy, and 1 grandson, Brooks Kennedy. Presenting the award tonight to Mr. Cordelli is Mr. Charlie Schmidt.
It's such an honor to be here to nominate Bruce. He was a leader again in school. He was co-captain or captain of his football team. Actually, on the same team, Chris Cechak was the center and Bruce was the quarterback. So they don't get much closer than that. He served our country through various, numerous deployments, several times to Iraq, several times to Afghanistan. He's been just an outstanding leader, and it's a great honor to present this.
Thanks for that kind introduction. Thanks, Coach. It's great to be back here at Neshaminy, and it's great to see a lot of wonderful, memorable faces, coaches, teachers, classmates, teammates. So thanks for coming out. I want to thank the Neshaminy Education Foundation for this recognition. I'm humbled and honored. But this is just a neat thing. And Steve Cohen, we got talking. I will tell you, well done with putting this together, because as Dr. Beadling talked, my father was a teacher here. Well, I'll talk about that in a little bit, but he came here in 1957, before I was born. So Tawanka, Poquessing, Neshaminy. You talk about all those footballs? Well, he's a football coach. We get pelted with those things. I still have the welts to. But this is phenomenal, what you put together, what you in the Education Foundation put together, because there are so many amazing graduates and so many amazing and accomplished people. And I will tell you that I'm humbled, but this is amazing. This is fantastic. So thank you. How about a round of applause for Steve and the Education Foundation? Yeah, a team. Yeah, the whole team. But I know you talk about it. It is the whole team. You're right. So again, thanks, the Education Foundation. Congratulations to all the recipients. This year and previous years, impressive and awe-inspiring. Coach Schmidt, thank you for this nomination. But more importantly, thank you for your guidance, mentorship, and tutelage. Really appreciate it. To the teachers, faculty, and coaches, we hear people thank the military for their service, and we appreciate that. But you all should be thanked every day for what you do to pour into me, to others. I want to thank you, and I'll tell you what, let's give a round of applause to those teachers and faculty. Thank you, coaches. So to the class of 1979, my classmates, the classiest class, way to be. It's great you're here. Teammates, football teammates, other teammates, lifelong friends. We went through adventures, trials, tribulations, triumphs, but I'll tell you, this is a foundation, and you called it like it was. Jimmy Riley, thanks for keeping us straight. But Fario, these stories, they have a expiration date. So, as I said, some may know my father. He was a football coach for many years and a teacher here at Neshaminy for 30 years. Pete Cordelli was a World War II vet, an educator, coach, disciplinarian who was passionate and a force. Many that knew him would not believe that it was our mother that decided that he was going to take a job here at Neshaminy. He had an interview, and he was coaching and teaching at his alma mater up in northeastern Pennsylvania. But when she saw what Neshaminy offered from an educational structure and foundation and all the programs that were talked about earlier, she said, "You better take this job for our family." And we are thankful that that she did, because she was correct, right? My two brothers who are here, Pete and Mark. Pete's a 72 grad, Mark's an 82, sorry. They would also attest, and our sister Lisa would attest to that fact, that it's this foundation, this education foundation, that helped us to be the people that we are. So thank you, Mom and Dad. I'm thankful for the opportunities I had in Neshaminy to participate and serve in leadership roles in a myriad of activities and sports, which enabled me to learn, grow, fail, and ultimately persevere. I'm grateful for the teachers and coaches that guided us through our successes and to learn from our failures. So the ability for me to take advantage of these opportunities in Neshaminy, coupled with teachers many of them were World War II vets, who impressed upon me the virtue of serving something greater than myself, proved me in good stead when I went to West Point. My West Point classmates and I were put through a crucible and challenged academically. And you heard Chris Cechak talk about the challenges of the Naval Academy, very similar. We were challenged academically, we were challenged physically, we were challenged emotionally. It was a high stress and high accountability environment. And a few maxims rang true. Cooperate and graduate, keep a good sense of humor, do not take yourself too seriously, and competence breeds confidence. Those were instilled in me here at Neshaminy. As I said, I'll tell you that the opportunities, experiences, and faculty at Neshaminy helped me to prepare for that crucible, as did my parents, high school friends, and teammates. The ultimate goal of West Point is to build leaders of character, to lead soldiers, our nation's treasure, in combat. I took that mission to heart and did my best to ensure that I was always prepared to lead, learn, grow, and challenge myself and challenge those others, to train them, to teach them. Those are things I learned here at Neshaminy. Build upon that. The most significant challenge was when I was Lieutenant Colonel commanding battalion, 1st and 12th Field Artillery Battalion, when we went into Iraq. 440 soldiers and didn't lose a life. And I can't take full credit for that. I thank the good Lord every day because you can't control everything there. But I will tell you that that was a culmination of my military career that proved out to be very successful. I had an excellent team. I had to thank an excellent team of officers underneath me, non-commissioned officers and soldiers in my battalion. Also, I have to thank my wife, Deb, and my 2 children, Bruce and Cassie. They're a constant source of support and love, and they sacrificed much. I couldn't have done it without them. So I took many of the lessons from Neshaminy, from my military and leadership acumen, and used that in my civilian second career. Working for OSD, Secretary of Defense, Readiness and Training, was able to advise during Operation Iraqi Freedom. I was able to use that at Boeing for 15 years to lead, many Class 5 programs. But also, now currently serving as the president of Ace Electronics Defense System. But this all came back to, be at the foundation here at Neshaminy. So a final thought. During my Army and civilian careers, I've met and heard many amazing and accomplished individuals speak. One individual who influenced me in my Army career was a Lieutenant Cleve McClary, who was seriously wounded in Vietnam. When I heard him speak the following phrase, "In this world of give and take, there are not enough people willing to give what it takes," it impacted me greatly. I had that calligraphy, and it hung on my wall, still hangs on my wall, for 40 years. I will tell you that the teachers, the faculty, and the coaches, they give what it takes. And I appreciate that. Thank you for that. Thank you to the committee. And I appreciate this night. And if Chris is still on, go Army, beat Navy. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, appreciate it. Okay.
I'm going to get you a picture here in front. Yeah. Another picture, Charlie. I'm not getting in the middle of Army Navy. Go. Go team. I'm not doing that. We have our last 2 recipients. So our next presenter will be Miss Pam Sporney. And she's going to be just introducing you to Miss Lori Ozoroski.
Good evening, everybody. I am very proud to introduce this next recipient of the Alumni Award, Lori Ozoroski. She is graduated in the Neshaminy class of 1983. She is an aerospace engineer who currently manages the NASA Commercial Supersonic Technology Project. I wonder how often she has to say her title. She has 35 years of experience researching technologies and design methodologies related to supersonic aircraft while working at NASA Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia. Over the past decade, she's served as the NASA Airframe Design Lead for NASA's X-59 Low Sonic Boom Demonstrator Experimental Aircraft. There are a lot of large words that come with her name. In 2019, she took over management of the research project that will use the X-59 to prove the ability to design quiet supersonic aircraft and then conduct testing with the X-59 to gather human annoyance data to enable future international regulations for commercial supersonic aircraft. Lori is recognized as an international expert in commercial supersonics. She chairs the American Institute for Aeronautics and Astronautics Supersonics Integration and Outreach Committee, and has received numerous NASA Group Achievement Awards throughout her career. Lori has a bachelor's and master's degree in aerospace engineering from the Pennsylvania State University and is married to Tom Ozoroski, also a Neshaminy High School class graduate of 1983. Presenting the award this evening to Ms. Ozoroski are Marcia O'Neill and Rita Geddes.
I met Lori in 5th grade at Samuel Everett. We did a talk on boating that lasted 3 hours. We're very thorough in our research. I knew that Lori was smart, but our freshman year at Penn State, in my chemistry class, you go to check your grade, and you see that there's one person that's blown the curve for everybody. I go back to my dorm room. It was Lori. I knew that Lori was passionate about science and always was passionate. But when you go to the beach with her, I brought my Glamour magazine. Lori had The Dance of the Woolly Masters, a book on quantum physics. But in all seriousness, I taught in Neshaminy for 35 years, and I cannot tell you how many times during my STEM projects and when I was working with the kids, especially the girls, I'd pull Lori's face up on the screen. I'd go to NASA's website and encourage them about, you can do this. This is a Neshaminy grad, and it's for girls too. So congratulations, Lori, you deserve it.
In my defense, I think Tom gave me that book to read. Oh, okay. So I told Dave when he was up here telling us what we needed to do, I'm used to kind of talking to PowerPoint slides. So apparently he said I could have had them, and I wish I had known that because it's kind of what us engineers do. We're not, we're all introverts, and yeah, we like to have something to stare at while we have to talk to a group. So. So I'd start thanking the, as all of the other recipients, the Education Foundation. I work at NASA, I get to work with amazing people every day. And a lot of them, so many, get recognized by their universities, by the professional organizations. But when I was talking to people, I'm going to be home for Thanksgiving break, and I was going to be getting this award, they're like, our schools don't do something like that. So I think it's amazing. It's normal, very common to recognize, our outstanding athletes and have sports hall of fames, which are my kids' local school has that, but they don't do something like this where they recognize alumni. So I really think that's just a fabulous thing. So thank you for doing that. I'd also like to thank Rita and Mars for nominating me. It's very humbling to be thought of in this way by your longtime friends and classmates. Dave will say, when I talked to him at first, I was like, oh, I don't know this, I don't know that I deserve this. I said, we have other classmates, Hawk, that should be getting this. He said, it's okay, he's getting one too. So made me feel a lot better because you were on my list ahead of me, okay? So I'd also like to thank all of my friends. A lot of our friends from high school, lifelong friends that have come out here to support me and Hawk tonight. And then, of course, my family and, family that is here. It's my in-laws are all here. So thank you guys for coming out. And most importantly, I do have to thank my fellow 1983 graduate, my husband, Tom Ozoroski, who has always been my biggest champion and my biggest motivator. So I may have been motivated back in my, first couple of years of college, but it was really Tom who, Friday night, Saturday night, I'm like, everybody else is going out to the bars. No, we have to study. We have to study. We have to do this. I became a really boring person in my undergraduate. I was not the most studious person in high school. Somebody mentioned the superlatives earlier tonight. So when I, got thinking, this kind of was like, oh, we got to go back and start thinking about some of these things from school. And I pulled up the superlatives, and there was one that was the most likely to succeed. Hawk, you and I were nominated. They didn't give it to us, but we still should have won. And we were also both nominated for future president. I think, yeah. There's still time. I'd vote for you. I'm staying out of the politics. But yeah, neither of us were voted for most studious. Tom. Let's see. I came up 13 years through Neshaminy School District. I was in one of those sections in Levittown that nobody could decide what school we should be in. So as in elementary school, I went to Walter Miller, then I went to Herbert Hoover for 3 years, then I went back to Walter Miller, and then we went to Samuel Everett, or Rapid Learners. Everybody remembers Rapid Learners. I think a few of us here were all in that. I think that's when actually all of us met at our orientation for Rapid Learners in 5th grade. Mars talked about the one report that we did. So 5th grade, it was 1974, 75. We were in one of these changes in how things were being taught. So they decided that the Rapid Learners class would do these self-taught. Talk. Well, we did the talks, but everything was kind of self-guided. You went and you pulled out something, you did it, and you put it back, and you kind of learned at your own pace. But yes, one of the things we did were these 4, every semester or quarter, we did a research project. So I always remembered the one that Marcia and I did because it lasted forever, and yeah. I also did one on spiders. So most people hate spiders. I was like, I love spiders. This is really cool. My spiders died before I actually got to do my talk. But one of the things that I had totally forgotten about was that my very first talk I did on Orville and Wilbur Wright. Now, so many people I work with at NASA, and I am the first A in NASA aeronautics. I'm not really a rocket scientist. I'm more of like a airplane something or other. I had no intention of going into aeronautics and aeronautical engineering as a student. Most of my coworkers, they're nuts. I mean, it was like their life. They knew what they were going to do, but I didn't know that in 5th grade when I did a report on Orville and Wilbur Wright. And do not ask me how I ended up doing this. The amazing thing that I realized 2 months ago was that we had to have visual aids. So I had 2 pictures, big giant pictures of Orville and Wilbur Wright. That's all I had. I don't think I had one of the airplane, maybe I did, but I had pictures of them. On NASA Aeronautics, for NASA on Aeronautics Day, which happens in August, it's recognized, my image is being shown on NASA social media the last couple of years next to the exact image of Orville Wright that I used in my 5th grade talk. And I've seen this for a couple of years, and it wasn't until I started thinking about, my history at Neshaminy that I realized, oh my God, I did a talk on that. And I mean, how crazy is that? And it's such an amazing, foundation to where I am today. So 13 years at Neshaminy. I went to all these middle or elementary schools. Eventually ended up at Neshaminy Middle, and then ended up at Neshaminy Langhorne. At which point, I think after 9th grade, we were given the option we could go to Maple Point. So again, I was in that section that got redistricted every year, every other year. So by the time I got to high school, I knew everybody in the. I was talking to Tom about a few things this week, and he's, I don't know that person, I don't know that person, and I was like, I think I went to school with everybody except Twin Oaks and Highland Park. They're the only two sections I never went to school with people from those two. So it's kind of funny sitting here listening to some of the other recipients, and I get back thinking about all these influential teachers that I had over the years. And it's hard to kind of identify a few. We've been out of school a long time, so I don't even know if any of them are with us anymore. But it's kind of funny because Frank Dugan got mentioned. Now, if you took chemistry in Neshaminy High School, you probably had Frank Dugan. However, everybody feared going into that class. Everybody. And I don't know. I think Tom may not have, but
No.
but of all of the classes and all of the teachers that had so much impact on me still to this day on a daily basis was Frank Dugan and that giant slide rule he had above the chalkboard in his classroom. And the things I learned in that class were, other than just a great education and great foundation. So when I got to Penn State and had to take freshman chemistry, it was like, yeah, this is easy. Sorry, Mars, you made me. But the classes, I don't know that we had AP classes back then, so we had Physics 2, Chemistry 2, but we didn't really get credit for them. It really gave me a great foundation going into Penn State. Engineering, your infamous weed-out classes, I really breezed through them. And it really helped me gain confidence, learn better study habits, and be very successful in my undergraduate journey into master's. And obviously that helped me get my job after graduating at NASA. Some other things, the experiences that I had at Neshaminy, especially at Neshaminy Langhorne. I guess I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do as a high school student. I played sports. I said, maybe not. Did chorus for a while. Yeah, maybe not. Newspaper, cheerleading, Play-Wiki, newspaper. And yes, I was a mathlete because I never met a math problem I didn't like, except for those in linear algebra. Hated them. It's the reason I'm not a controls person, aircraft controls person. So just great ability to again, make friends, have connections through all of the cliques we had in high school. I knew everybody. I had friends everywhere, and it really just added to the entire experience. Somebody talking about gym night. For people that don't live here, have you ever tried to explain gym night to somebody? It's impossible. Nobody can imagine what it's like unless you have been there. And I watch the videos I see online once in a while, but I tried to explain it to my children. They don't get it. They have no idea. Never experienced anything like that. And yes, it's a good thing we don't have to steal lumber anymore. We were talking before we came here tonight about having to do that for homecoming floats too. So hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. So I've been really honored with the ability to be working in leading work at NASA to try to bring back commercial supersonics. It's an incredibly challenging thing. I have been working it for most of the 35 years. I've worked with amazing people, including some of our NASA Hidden Figures that were instrumental in some of the original research that was going on in this area. And the fact that I have had the honor of being involved with designing, leading so much of the development for the X-59 airplane. To be at NASA and get, there's a lot of launches, satellites. Yeah, that's something that people have. I think we have a prior alumni that was involved in some Mars rover work. But to be involved in an X-plane is just a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And even though the government has been on furlough recently, I was able to actually travel out to NASA Armstrong a couple weeks ago and watch that airplane take off from Lockheed Skunk Works and land at NASA Armstrong at Edwards Air Force Base, and it was life-changing. Just a huge, just so exciting. People have asked me before, what was your most exciting thing at NASA? And it was when we were told we were going to be able to build that airplane, and it's been, of course, overcome by seeing that airplane fly. So NASA also has given me the opportunity with the mission that we are currently supporting to really do a lot of STEM and outreach. If you go to NASA Quest with 2 S's, there are STEM activities for those of you that are teachers in the room. Everything from kindergarten through high school, STEM activities related to the science and learning about what we're trying to do. And so I encourage you to visit that. We do so much outreach to schools and communities. It's really been something that I wasn't involved in early on, and it really has really had a major impact on me over the last few years being able to do that. So I think I talked longer than my 5 minutes, Dave. So, so thank you again, everybody, and I really appreciate the honor. So humbling, and I appreciate all the support from everyone in the room.
Did you get a picture together with your award? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we're heading into our very last recipient for the evening. And presenting that award will be Mr. Dave Heaney.
Good evening. As we were looking over the nominees this year, I saw Lori, and then in parentheses, Felker, Ozoroski, and Hawthorne E. Smith, both of whom I was classmates with. And I read through it and could only think, what did I do wrong? But it's great to see them again. It was difficult getting a hold of Lori during the furlough. I actually went to her childhood home in one of the sections. Nobody was there. Couldn't get help there. So it is my pleasure tonight to introduce to you Dr. Hawthorne Emery Smith, who I know as Hawk. And of course, I drew the one with all the hard words. Dr. Hawthorne Smith is a licensed psychologist and director of the Bellevue Program for Survivors of Torture. He is an associate clinical professor at the NYU School of Medicine in the Department of Psychiatry, as well as president of the National Consortium of Torture Treatment Programs. Dr. Smith received his doctorate in counseling psychology from Teachers College, Columbia University. Dr. Smith had previously earned a Bachelor of Science in Foreign Service from the Georgetown University School of Foreign Service and an advanced certificate in African Studies from the Sheikh Anta Diop University in Dakar, Senegal. Did I get that right? As well as a master's in international affairs from Columbia University School of International and Public Affairs. Among his clinical duties, Dr. Smith has facilitated a support group for French-speaking African survivors of torture for the past 29 years. He supervises psychiatry residents, psychology interns and externs, as well as social work trainees. He also speaks extensively at professional conferences and seminars on providing clinical services for survivors of socio-political violence and enhancing cross-cultural clinical skills among therapeutic service providers. Dr. Smith has been recognized for his work with such awards as the Robin Hood Foundation's Hero Award, the Frantz Fanon Award from the Postgraduate Center for Mental Health, the W.E.B. Du Bois Award from the International Youth Leadership Institute, the Distinguished Alumni Early Career Award from Teachers College, the Man of Distinction Award from the National Association of Health Service Executives, the Union Square Award for Community Advocacy from the Fund for the City of New York, and a Humanitarian Award from the Council General of the Republic of Haiti. Prior to coming to Bellevue, Dr. Smith was a youth counselor to court-involved youth in Washington, D.C. during the height of the crack epidemic. Then he coordinated care at a shelter for the homeless families in San Francisco prior to and in the aftermath of the 1989 earthquake. Dr. Smith was also a co-founding member of the Nawiyon Incorporated, a nonprofit organization working primarily with refugees from Sierra Leone as well as other displaced Africans in New York, and helped to coordinate the International Youth Leadership Institute, a leadership program for marginalized New York City teens. Currently, Dr. Smith provides forensic evaluation, human rights consultations, and mitigation services on capital cases for private legal firms and public entities such as the U.S. Department of Defense and the U.S. Office of the Federal Defender. Dr. Smith played in the Neshaminy Middle School Jazz Band under the direction of Mr. Leroy Nelson. He also played in the high school marching band under the direction of Dr. Ronald Daggett. Dr. Smith is now a professional musician, saxophonist, and vocalist with national and international experience. His band, Casa Mantequilla, gigs regularly across New York City and is currently in residence at the Shrine, one of Harlem's iconic live music venues. Presenting the award tonight to Dr. Smith tonight are Marcia O'Neill and Rita Geddes. And I would like to take this moment to mention that the presenters that we've had tonight are also the nominators of each of the recipients.
Just wanted to say a few quick words about Hawk. If you ask anybody in the Neshaminy Langhorne class of '83 and probably Maple Point too, who the coolest guy they know is, every single person would say Hawk Smith, without a doubt. But that is not why Hawk was nominated for this award. He spent his career advocating and supporting people who've experienced the worst that this world has to offer. He's world-renowned in his field. When he received an award a few years ago, his response on Facebook was, "I'm just a little sax player from Langhorne." Well, Hawk, the Neshaminy Langhorne community recognizes you, and we couldn't be more proud of all that you've done and more grateful for all the people that you've helped in this world and advocating for people who can't advocate for themselves. So, congratulations. And Hawk also has a sister who is a previous award winner, and I think they might be the only family in Neshaminy that has siblings, that has two people in the alumni.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, folks. Going from anxious to humbled and now feeling right at home. I really want to thank the Neshaminy Educational Foundation, Jan, David, Rita, Marcia, and to all of the awardees and all who were nominated. I'm really proud to be with you, and especially I want to give a shout out to Lori, my classmate, and just when I saw that we were coming in here together, I was just like, this is just how it's meant to be. You know, I don't think I realized how deep and how broad the impact that Neshaminy had on me until I started really thinking about, you know, having some remarks tonight. And as I started jotting down, oh, this happened, and oh, what about that anecdote and this and that? And I realized that I have about a 90-minute speech, and that would be problematic. So we're not going to do that. But I do sort of want to just sort of jump in, and I want to start first with my family, my mom and dad who are with us, and we have the Eximities and the Smith folks who are here, and just that family foundation, and to my brother Bill as well, who I think would be very proud. But I do want to shout out my big sis, the coolest, the best big sister in the world, who was honored, thank you, Claire Smith, honored here last year. I think this is about the 10th Hall of Fame she might be in, so we're still playing catch up. But I wanted to give a shout out to my big brother Bart Smith, who is in the Athletic Hall of Fame here. He was a major part of two of the best football teams the state of Pennsylvania has ever seen. And he's Neshaminy tough, and he's proved that even more so in the last few weeks. He was living in Jamaica and went through a Category 5 storm up in the hinterlands. He's not where the hotels are and what have you. For 2.5 weeks, we hadn't heard from him, but he just reached out to us a few weeks ago. He's okay. His 6 dogs are okay, and one of his dogs gave birth to puppies, and they're okay. I don't know how he does it. It's that Neshaminy toughness, you know? But let me talk a little bit about this community. And we've talked about gym night a couple times, and it's funny that they split the school in the red and blue. It's a metaphor for something, I'm not quite sure. But we live in a purple community that is sort of transposed onto a purple school within purple towns in a purple county within a purple state. But what does that mean? And I'm not going down a political road. I just want to talk about what I learned here was that folks in this community are much less interested in what you tell them you are, much more interested in who you show them you are by your actions and who you are. I have played on teams, I've played in bands, I'm sure with folks here, and we come from different backgrounds, and maybe we don't agree on everything, but the bottom line is, can you play? Can we count on you in the clutch? Will you work hard? Okay, we're about ready to do a show. Can you blow? That's what mattered. I remember when, and I think, you know, we're a very sports-oriented community as well. And I think some of us follow some of the Philadelphia professional teams as well. I remember when Allen Iverson came to the Sixers, and he's a Georgetown guy, I'm a Georgetown guy, and people were saying they will never accept Allen Iverson in Philadelphia. The cornrows and the gold and the tattoos and all that. Vinny from Manayunk is never going to root for Allen Iverson. But then when Allen Iverson came and he would just go full speed into the paint, and it didn't matter who ran into him. Shaq could knock him down. He'd just get back up and shoot his foul shots. When it was time, the game was on the line, he stepped up, he did that. And you go to Manayunk and you see Vinny, he's rocking the number 3 because he saw the heart, he saw the soul. And that was definitely something that I think we were taught here. Colonel Cordelli, he mentioned about the hard work, and you know, and that it gives you the benefit of attempting and trying to succeed, and that we can go farther than we even imagined. I remember you talked about Dr. Daggett, and I remember the first time with the marching band, and it's like August, and we're out there behind Gym 3, and there's about a zillion mosquitoes, and all we're doing is a heel to knee, and I'm like, what does this mean? How is this gonna help us? But then by the time, like the middle of the football season or something, we're putting 250 people on that football field, playing music like you wouldn't believe at the level of huge Big Ten marching bands. Roy Nelson had us in a jazz band in middle school, and we'd have to get up an hour earlier than school started just to get in there and rehearse and do that. Why are we working so hard? This middle school jazz band could take down any high school jazz band, and some of the community colleges were afraid of us. And with Sam Hellings, you can speak to that. And a lot of folks there, like the work that got put in manifested itself. And even in terms of language, Mr. Balsova was my French professor. And I was struggling. I think we were all struggling in that class, but somehow he made it so that it wasn't about what we did wrong. It wasn't the mistakes we made, but it was about the beauty of expression and learning, and it became an adventure. And now about 95% of the clinical work I do is in French. And that was a foundation that came here from Neshaminy. And when we traveled with the band, my good friend Jimmy is out there, when we traveled and went to Mexico, it put something in my heart that, wow, you know, there's a much wider world out there and something we can engage in. And people will see us as special. Not everyone gets to meet somebody from Langley. And playing that music, and now that I've had to travel the world and what have you, everywhere I go, I take my saxophone with me. And even if I don't speak the language, if you put out that creative spirit, if you come from the part of your heart that wants to engage with folks, there are people there that will receive you and will bring you in. And it is like a passport to a deeper connection wherever you go. All of this is from Neshaminy. But not all of the lessons were easy. Not all of the lessons were victory. I had a chance to speak with Coach Blair, whom I haven't seen in years, and talk with him. And, you know, when we came to high school, the high schools were split into Langhorne and Maple Point, and it's like half the basketball team went there and half the basketball team went there, and both schools struggled. And we struggled. And I was saying to Coach, like, I feel like sometimes I was playing not to lose as opposed to playing to win. And that was a lesson I needed to learn at that time. But we had our moments where we sort of got past that. And I remember one time in particular, we were playing against a very high-powered team from Pennsbury. But we only suited 6 people. And we took Pennsbury to overtime. And then one by one, we started to foul out. By the end of the game, we were playing 3-on-5. And we took them to the last minute where we didn't have any other foul to give, one more foul, and we would have to forfeit. And we lost by 1. And I remember the coach from Pennsbury came over to congratulate us. We were still The next morning, I went in for gym class. Colonel Cordelli's father was there. And he came over to me. And I didn't think he paid much attention beyond football or even knew who I was, but he shook my hand and he said, "I'm proud of you." And I said, "Oh, but Coach, but we didn't win. We didn't." He just looked me in the eyes. He didn't say anything. But what he said with his eyes meant everything. Trying. Putting forth your best effort. Trying to overcome those next obstacles as something that has been instilled in me from this community. And it's something I try to instill in these people that I work with who are marginalized, who are traumatized and all of that, that tomorrow can be better. Now, this focus on humanity, overcoming obstacles, there's more that I learned here, and I'll be a little personal. I learned about love here. I learned about love, and it was beautiful. It's wonderful. It's also really, really painful. And I think that there were boundaries at that time that perhaps we were beginning to cross that not everybody was ready for, and it hurt. And it got me to the point where it's like, well, I'm trying to do all these things to evolve. I come from a remarkable family. None of that is good enough. And honestly, I wanted to hate. I wanted, but I couldn't. Because every time I would just think about that person that I loved, and even the people who were trying to keep her away from me. I was like, they raised someone who was so beautiful, who was so kind, who was so generous. I know this exists in them. How can I hate that? And my friends who were there for me, thick or thin, were just like, hey man, this is tough, but we got you. How could I hate? I couldn't. And it just instilled in me again this power of love, this power of community. And this is something that is so, so, so important. And I realized then that if you love someone, if you love something, grab it with both hands, hold on, be relentless. Even if something in the world pulls you away from that, let it not be because you let go. And then, as fate would have it, love came back into my life, and I met a really special young woman from a country, small country in West Africa, most of us in Bucks County probably never even heard of, Sierra Leone. And she's just amazing. She was a spark. She was this. And I was like, I know this is who I need to be with. My parents were cool with it. They loved her immediately. And they always taught me, hey, it's not who you love, it's how you love. But how do I make her feel home in this community? That's where my friends stepped in. My buddy Rich, may he rest in peace. He was the first one coming to her with his jokes and just silliness that she knew she could just be at ease. My good friend Howard Johnson, again, rest in peace. First time he met Yinka and all that, he called her over. He said, hey, no, I wasn't a doctor back then. Hey, oh, come on. I'm going to make dinner. You folks come on over. I was like, dinner? I didn't even know he could cook. And he went all out, man. He did this like 4-course, thing going on, had flowers on the table. Now I'm like, dude, you're making me look bad, man. I've been going out with her for 6 months. I never did this. Howard's like, watch the master. It's okay. But now there was a time where she knew that she could feel at home in my home. And my good friend, my boy Jimmy, who we just went through it all together, he pulled me aside and he said, hey, Hawk, you got the right one there. I said, yeah, she's fun. Besides all that, Yinka doesn't take any mess. And he said, I know you, and you need that. And she's kept me to look forward that we can build. We've raised our 2 kids together. We're doing that. She's helped so many people. She's a wonderful, wonderful psychologist and professor and researcher. And as I make these remarks, it's for all of us, but it's really for you and to you, because I don't know that I've ever really truly explained how much this place means to me and how much it has infused in me. And so I want to say, as we look at our future adventures, our future projects, travels, no matter where you go, you're going to be accompanied by Hawthorne from Langhorne. And I couldn't be more proud. Thank you folks so very much. Thank you.
But I want to thank you all so much for coming. I thank all of the recipients. Everything you had to say just touched my heart. I'm so impressed with everything you all have done. And thank you to the people who nominated these amazing people, and you were able to come and share this evening with them. It means so much to all of us. And I look out to, as I taught here for 36 years, including a couple in Trenton, but I'm looking at teachers that I had and administrators that I worked with, like Ray Kelly in the back and still coaching. Great guy. He was my social studies teacher. I got an A. I was very excited. Charlie Schmidt, Kathy Zeiss-Knowles, Margie Tigner, Sue Weber, all of these people have been teachers for so long and meant a lot to me and to all of the people who are on the committee as well. Steve Cohen should have gave me a better grade in art, but it's okay. I only got S's, if you remember those grades back then. But I thank everyone for coming. If you get a chance, please share any stories that you have with the other recipients. And thank you very much.